I am Nikki Henry. I am the founder and CEO of Ladies Leading Ladies. We're a company that's focused on empowering women and non-binary people to grow as supportive leaders in their careers. So we do that through training, coaching, and community events to really help people to be the best leaders that they could be while taking care of themselves, and also trying to make an impact on our workplaces where we're so focused on a culture of burnout, to create workplaces that are more supportive for everyone involved and really help us to be the best that we can be every day. My first experience at Raw, I had met Diana and we just hit it off immediately. She said, "You have to come to experience it because I can't explain it in words." And I thought, I'm in, a night about women and empowering women and talking about things that we've been told we should keep to ourselves. I'm there 100%. And my mom is my best friend, and she is such a strong, powerful, amazing woman as well. So I said, "Mom, you're my date. Let's go to Raw." The second speaker was talking about sexual abuse, and she shared a story, within her family of how abuse had rocked their family. And my mother has her own trauma that she shared with me when I was 12, actually, which really shaped a lot of my life and work. I went into victim advocacy because of it. But what was interesting to me is that it hit me really hard too, and I wasn't exactly sure why those emotions were coming up for me. We talk about kind of this vulnerability hangover after Raw Talks. So I went home and I was exhausted. Me and my mom were both exhausted. Went home, went to bed. The next day I was at home alone and I just still felt just a rumbling of my emotions. And so I thought, okay, I'm gonna turn on something really inspiring and motivating, and I'm gonna walk around the house just to burn off some of this anxiety. So I turned on one of Oprah's Super Soul Sunday podcasts, and I picked the one with Amy Schumer specifically because I was like, oh, this will be funny. So I turned it on and I'm walking around, and Amy Schumer is actually talking about how she lost her virginity through rape. She woke up and her boyfriend, who she loved very much, was inside her. And she never really dealt with that because she loved him, and they were kind of moving to that place anyway. So she thought, okay, it was a mistake, it was an issue. But she talked about how that came up for her a lot later in life and how she's dealt with that and realized that that was sexual assault. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. I started having flashbacks of an ex-boyfriend that I had. And a night that we specifically had, I was with this boyfriend in a really toxic time in my life where my dad was in jail. I was trying to get a restraining order from him. I had moved my mom out of their home to live with me, and I was trying to keep her hidden and safe from him. And I was dating this guy who was just horrible for me. And we would drink a lot. So one night after being out and drinking, we came home and we're in bed, and he took it to a level that I wasn't okay with. And I remember kind of screaming in pain at first, and then telling him, this is rape, you need to get off of me. And he brushed me off and said, "You're crazy, you're being so dramatic," and he just rolled over and went to sleep. And I remember I rolled over and cried myself to sleep. And so that hit me like a ton of bricks, and I thought, oh my gosh, I must have just blocked it out after it happened. And I thought, am I crazy? Am I making this up? How has this not been at the forefront of my mind? And so I sat with that for a couple of days. My husband was at work. And so I was able to kind of rumble with that myself. And then I didn't know if I wanted to tell him. And when he got home, I just started bawling and told him what was going on. And he was so supportive and amazing and just kind of held me through that. And we both kind of started to realize how that's come up in our relationship without us knowing where the root was. And what's funny is about 2 weeks later, my best girlfriend does my hair. So I was over at her house and she was dyeing my hair and cutting my hair. And I started to tell her about it. I said, I'm rocked, man. I just remembered all this that happened, and I can't believe that I've blocked it out. And she said, honey, you told me the next day. You told me the next day that this happened to you and you were wrecked. And you thought, okay, I'm not going to make a thing about this. I'm not going, I can't go there. And I pushed it out of my mind, but she remembered it like it was yesterday. So what our minds can do to protect us is really, really crazy. And just by opening up a space like Raw to have those conversations, I've been able to deal with it. I've been able to kind of get that out of the deep, dark pits of my soul to be able to start healing and dealing with that and understand how that has affected my marriage and how that's affected the rest of my life and has affected my feelings around sex. And just saying sex as a woman out loud, right, is like already a stigma in and of itself. So it rocked my world and absolutely changed me as a person. So it's really important for those of us who are survivors of whatever kind of abuse, that we are able to deal with it and work through the darkness that it's brought upon our lives. Because when we block it out, or when we don't talk about it and we stuff it down, it finds its way to rear its ugly head. And we might not even realize, like in my case, for years of how that was coming out. But it absolutely had taken a toll on the intimacy between me and my husband. It also, because I had been with this person that was horrible for me, and I know that looking back, that I was with that person because of the pain that I was going through in my life, I feel a lot of shame around that relationship because I know that I was making a decision out of pain and that I hurt a lot of people around me with that relationship as well. And so blocking it out and keeping it a secret just hurt me and brought my anxiety to a level that I couldn't control. So when we're able to actually bring it out and speak about what's going on, one, the people that love you and are closest to you, like my husband, my mom, my best friends, they're there to support you and they shower you with so much love and support and remind you when your mind is playing tricks on you that you did something to deserve it, that you played a part in it, that it's not a big deal is what I would tell myself a lot. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. I'm fine. My life is amazing. Why does this matter? I would minimize. And those people closest to you remind you that it is a big deal. Your pain and your experiences matter. And moving forward, your healing is number one. So you get the support, and then that support can help you to move to healing, where you work with professionals who are trained and skilled in helping you work through this abuse and trauma and grief and the lasting effects that come from it. And if I didn't have the space to do that and to really work through my healing, then I know my husband and I have been married 1.5 years. I know in 5 years, in 10 years, what would be happening in our relationship if I didn't face those demons. To anyone who might be in the situation that I found myself in years ago when, after the sexual abuse happened, I would tell that person to find someone you trust and share with them what happened. You don't have to do anything that you're not comfortable with, but keeping it in silence is going to hurt you in the long run. And it's going to hurt the people you love the most in the long run as well. So for yourself and for your future relationships and your future children, your future, spouse or partner, tell someone and ask for help. Now, I think with sexual abuse and domestic violence, a lot of what gets caught up in that is that fear and pressure of having to report it through, tell the police, and you need to do this and you need to do that. There's a lot of pressures around what we're supposed to do as abuse survivors. That I think you can work through with a professional and do what feels right for you. Don't feel like there's any right or wrong way to be a survivor, but remember that you are a survivor. You have made it through and you still have so much life and beauty ahead of you. Don't let that one instance or multiple instances of darkness take away the light that's in your future.